And here are some hints and the answers for assignment 8.6. Hopefully you've looked at it and you're just using this to check your answers, right? Because that's how we learn. So frequency is found by taking b, which is the value in front of the x, and putting it over 2 pi. Well, on this one, b is 1, so 1 over 2 pi would just be 1 over 2 pi. Number 2, same thing. We're going to take 4 and put it over 2 pi. Well, 4 over 2 pi reduces to just 2 over pi. So that's the answer for number 2. Number 3, the frequency again is 2 over 2 pi. The 2's cancel out, and your answer is just 1 over pi. Moving on to number 4. So this time we are looking at modeling. So in the problem it tells us that it has a frequency of 20 hertz. So frequency is equal to b over 2 pi. So if you say 20 is equal to b over 2 pi, solving that for b, we get b equals 40 pi. So b is 40 pi, so that's what goes in front of the t. And then it says that the maximum pressure is 0.02, so that is the maximum height, or the amplitude, if you think of it like that. So it would be 0.02 out in front with this sine function. So now, what is the graph that goes with it? And it has a 0.2 as the maximum height, so it wouldn't be this one or this one, so it could be here or here. But this one has a letter or b value of 40 pi, and to find the length of the period, you could take pi and divide it by b, which is 40 pi. So that would be 1 over 40, and then to find the period, you take 2 pi and divide it by b, which is 40 pi, and you get 1 over 20, which is 0.05. So that's why it's that one right there. Number 5, modeling with mathematics. So this one also, again, you're looking for the equation, and it has a frequency of 440 hertz or cycles per second. So when you take the frequency, of 440, and that is equal to b over 2 pi, and solve for b, and you get 880 pi, and that gives you the value of b. And then it has a maximum pressure of 5, so the 5 in front of the sign times 880 pi times t. There's the function. Now to graph it, it's going to have an height of 5. So here we have a 5, there's like a 2.5, so that's not quite enough. There's a 5, there's not enough, so it's going to be one of these two. And then do that same thing to find the period. The period is going to be 2 pi divided by 880 pi, which is 2 divided by 880, and if you multiply that out, or divide it, 2 divided by 880 is 0.00227. So here's one complete cycle at 0.00227. That one's pretty close right there. So it is that function right there. Number 6, write a function for this sinusoid. So it starts here at 0, 0. So it's going to be a sine function. So it's going to be one of these two here. And it has an amplitude of 3. So it is going to have the 3 in front of it. And then one period goes from here back up to here. So it's at pi. So the period is pi, And so you take pi, if the period equals pi divided by b, and then it would have 2 complete cycles before you get to 2 pi, so letter or value b is 2. Okay, number 7, also writing a function. So this time notice it starts down here, so my guess is it's going to be a cosine, and since it's down, not up, it's going to be a negative cosine, which is down here. Let's just see if this one works. This one is shifted up. Well, it has an x, or 4 being added to the x, so it's really shifted to the right 4, which if you shift this to the right 4, it's not going to look any different. So that's one possible way that you could write that. And then for this to have this value of pi over 2, so is there one complete cycle? So one period is 4, so that's what is equal to 2 pi over b. So if you solve that for b, you get b is equal to 2 pi divided by 4, which makes pi halves. Okay, so we're trying to find the amplitude of the sinusoid. So I agree that we're going to look at the height of 10 and then the height of -6 and find the average of those, and that would be a 2. But that's not the amplitude. That is just the midline. So then the midline is 2, and then the highest it goes is 10, and the lowest it goes is -6. And so the correct amplitude would be 8, because 10 minus 2 would be 8, or 2 minus a -6 would be 8. So the correct answer is 8. All right, so number 9, I'm going to try to explain without drawing a picture, but I actually drew a picture. And so imagine a circle that the bottom of the circle is 4 feet above the ground and the top of the circle is 9 feet. Well, that makes the radius 2.5, and it does tell you the diameter is 5 feet, so the radius is 2.5 feet. So that gives that 2.5 out in front, and it does say that it goes down first. It's a cosine. Oops, sorry. It starts at the lowest point, so it's the negative cosine because it starts down at negative and goes up and then down. And the period is 2 seconds, so that's what is equal to 2 pi over b. So b would be equal to 2 pi divided by 2, which would just be pi. So that's our value of b. And then the center of the circle is 6.5 feet because you got 4 feet above it, and then the distance of the radius up to the center is another 2.5 feet. So it's being shifted up 6.5 feet. So there's the equation. Number 10 is using your calculator. So hopefully you have a calculator that you can use. If not, there are some online that you can do stats with. So first thing you do is you hit the stats button and go to your lists. You're going to put 1 through 12 in list 1, and then you're going to put the values for D in list 2, 60, 63, so on all the way down to 60 here. Then go back to the stat button. This time you want to calculate. So you arrow over to calculate, and then arrow all the way down until you see sign regular. So that is, on mine it's letter C. And then you hit enter, enter, and it gives you the values y equals, and then it gives the equation, and then it has A, B, C, and D. So your answer for A is 19.807, which they've rounded to 8.08. B is 0.5486, which they round to 0.549. C is negative 2.3974, which rounds to 2.397. And D is 79.7548, so you round that to 79.755. Now, the period of the graph represents the number of cycles the weather repeats in 12 months. That is false because it doesn't repeat that in one cycle. Period of the graph. And the period of the graph represents the amount of time it takes for the weather to repeat the cycle, which is about 11.4 months, which that is also, that one is true. And there you go. Good luck.